Welcome to tonight's bedtime story from our series on Get Sleepy Cozy Tonight. Snuggle in as we introduce you to the Hedgehog's hospitality, a gentle tale set in the quiet depth of an ancient forest. Here, under the towering oaks and among the rustling leaves, lives Harold, a kindly hedgehog with a heart as warm as the burrow he calls home. As the forest whispers with the winds of winter, Harold finds his cozy solitude transformed by the unexpected arrival of new friends, each seeking shelter and solace from the storm. Tonight's story is about kindness, the joy of shared moments, and the unexpected friendships that bloom in the heart of the coldest seasons. Let the soothing sounds of the forest night embrace you, as Harold and his guests weave tales of resilience and warmth that promise to carry you into a peaceful slumber, surrounded by the soft, comforting embrace of hospitality in its purest form. Close your eyes, relax, and let the tale of the hedgehog's hospitality guide you into a tranquil night's sleep. The hedgehog's hospitality. The arrival of the strangers. In the heart of an ancient forest, under the roots of a towering oak, there lived a hedgehog known by all for his boundless kindness. This hedgehog, whose name was Harold, had made a cozy burrow his home, adorned with leaves, soft moss, and the warmth of a small flickering fire. Despite the comfort and serenity of his dwelling, Harold often found himself enveloped in a cloak of solitude, yearning for companionship and ears willing to listen to the tales that danced in his mind. Harold spent his days wandering the forest, tending to the needs of plants and animals alike. He was a friend to all, from the smallest ant toiling in the underbrush to the tallest deer grazing in the meadows. Yet, when the sun dipped below the horizon and the chorus of the night began, Harold returned to his burrow alone, his heart heavy with silent stories longing to be shared. On one particularly stormy evening, as Harold settled into his burrow, the wind howled like a symphony of ghosts, and rain tapped on the earth as if seeking entry into his humble home. He curled up beside his fire, a book in hand, attempting to lose himself in tales of old. But the storm's ferocity echoed his inner turmoil, a relentless reminder of his isolation. As the night deepened, the tempest outside mirrored the whirlwind within Harold's heart. He sighed, closing his book, resigned to another night spent in the company of shadows and whispers of the wind. Just then, a faint knock, barely audible over the storm's uproar, caught his attention. Harold's ears perked up, a flicker of hope igniting within him. Could it be that someone or something was seeking his company on such a fearsome night? With cautious optimism, Harold approached the door, his small paws trembling slightly as he unlatched it. The door creaked open, revealing a sight that would warm the coldest of hearts. There, on his doorstep, stood a sparrow, feathers soaked, eyes wide with fright and exhaustion. The sparrow trembled, not just from the cold, but from the kindness that radiated from Harold's gentle eyes. Without a moment's hesitation, Harold ushered the sparrow inside, wrapping her in a soft blanket of moss and leaves. He stoked the fire, bringing its warmth back to life, and brewed a tea from the herbs he had gathered, a remedy known to comfort and heal. As the sparrow sipped the warm brew, her shivers subsided, and her gratitude shone brighter than the fire itself. For the first time in many moons, Harold felt a spark of joy ignite within his burrow. The presence of another soul, even one as small and fragile as the sparrow, filled the room with an energy that no fire could match. They exchanged no words, for none were needed. The shared warmth and shelter spoke volumes of the bond forming between them. As the storm raged on outside, inside Harold's burrow, A different kind of storm brewed, a storm of friendship, warmth, and the promise of tales to be shared. Harold, with a heart as open as his door, had unknowingly embarked on a journey that would transform not just his life, but the lives of all who would come to seek shelter under his roof. And so, with the sparrow nestled comfortably beside him, Harold realized that the night would not be spent in solitude after all. Instead, it would be a night of beginnings, of stories, and of the warmth that only companionship could bring. Little did Harold know, this was just the first of many knocks on his door that stormy night, each bringing with it a new chapter in the tale of the hedgehog's hospitality. As the night wore on, the storm outside seemed to gather its strength, as if challenging the very earth it raged upon. Inside Harold's humble abode, however, a different atmosphere, the warmth of the fire and the gentle glow of candlelight, filled the burrow with a soft, comforting luminescence, casting dancing shadows upon the walls. Harold and his newfound friend, the sparrow whom he named Seraphina, shared in the quiet tranquility, their hearts lighter in the company of each other. Harold, feeling an unfamiliar surge of elation, began to recount tales of the forest secrets, of hidden paths and ancient trees that whispered to those who would listen. Seraphina, in turn, shared melodies of the sky, of the sun's embrace and the moon's tender caress upon the clouds. Their exchange was a symphony of words and notes, a blending of worlds that had seldom met, yet, as harmonious as the night had become, fate had decreed it to be a night of encounters. Another knock, soft yet insistent, punctuated the storm's howl, drawing Harold and Seraphina from their reverie. Harold approached the door with a sense of wonder, his heart open to whatever creature sought his aid in this tempestuous night. Upon opening the door, Harold's eyes met with a sight that tugged at his heartstrings. A small squirrel, drenched and shivering, stood before him, her eyes wide with fear and exhaustion. She had lost her way in the storm, her home in the trees rendered unreachable by the relentless winds. Without a second thought, Harold welcomed the squirrel into his home, introducing her to Seraphina. The squirrel, whom they came to know as Hazel, was taken aback by the warmth of the fire and the kindness that enveloped Harold's burrow. As she dried off and warmed up, Hazel shared her tale of woe, of how the storm had caught her unawares, separating her from her family and home. The trio sat together, the storm outside forgotten, as they shared in the warmth of companionship. Harold, ever the gracious host, prepared a modest feast from his stores of nuts, berries, and roots. The simple meal, shared among friends, tasted better than any banquet, for it was seasoned with the rarest of all spices, kindness. As they ate, the barriers between them melted away, leaving only the warmth of friendship in its place. Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel realized that despite their differences, they were not so different after all. Each had known loneliness, and each had found solace in the company of others on this stormy night. Harold, looking around his once lonely burrow, now filled with laughter and tales, felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had longed for companionship, for ears to hear his tales and hearts to share in his joys and sorrows. Now, as if by some magic, his wish had been granted in the most unexpected of ways. As the night drew on, and the storm's fury began to wane, the trio found comfort in each other's presence. They shared stories and dreams, weaving a tapestry of friendship that would endure long after the storm had passed. In the heart of the ancient forest, under the roots of the towering oak, Harold's burrow had become a beacon of hope and warmth. The hedgehog, once solitary and longing, had opened his home and heart, proving that even the smallest act of kindness could light the darkest of nights. In the tender glow of dawn, As the storm's remnants whispered their final farewells, Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel awoke to a world refreshed and renewed. The first rays of sunlight pierced the canopy, casting a golden light upon the burrow's entrance, promising a day of peace and new beginnings. Seraphina, with her feathers now dry and her spirit rejuvenated, fluttered about the burrow, her melodies more joyous than ever. Hazel, too, felt a lightness she had not known in days, her fears of the night's storm now a distant memory. And at the heart of this newfound harmony was Harold, the hedgehog whose generosity had turned a night of despair into a morning of hope. As they gathered for a breakfast of berries and dew-kissed leaves, Harold listened intently to Seraphina's tale, a story born of the skies and the freedom that lay in the embrace of the wind. Seraphina spoke of her journey through the seasons, of the lands she had seen from above, and the creatures she had met along the way. Her tale was a tapestry of experiences, woven with threads of adventure and wonder. But it was not just her adventures that Seraphina shared. She spoke, too, of the kindness she had encountered, of the moments when the generosity of others had lifted her spirits and carried her through. Her story was a testament to the power of hospitality, a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness could leave an indelible mark on the heart of another. As Seraphina's tale unfolded, Harold and Hazel listened with rapt attention, their hearts touched by the sparrow's words. They saw in her story a reflection of their own experiences, a reminder of the threads of kindness that connected them all. The morning passed in a blur of stories and laughter, the warmth of friendship enveloping the trio like a soft blanket. And as Seraphina's tale came to a close, Harold and Hazel realized that they, too, had stories to share. Tales of the forest and its secrets, of the challenges they had faced, and the friendships they had forged along the way. The sharing of their stories became a ritual, a sacred moment where each could bare their soul and find understanding and acceptance in the eyes of their friends. For in the sharing of tales, they found not just entertainment, but a deeper connection, a bond forged in the fires of adversity and strengthened by the kindness they had shown one another. As the day wore on, and the sun climbed higher in the sky, Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel knew that their time together was a precious gift, a moment of serenity in a world often filled with turmoil. They had found in each other a family of sorts, a circle of friends who had come together by chance, but would remain connected by choice. And as they prepared to face the day, each with their own paths to follow, they carried with them the lessons of the night, the understanding that kindness was a light that could pierce the darkest storm, a beacon of hope that could guide the lost back to the warmth of home. For Harold, the lonely hedgehog whose heart had longed for companionship, the arrival of Seraphina, the shivering sparrow, had been the first chapter in a tale of friendship and hospitality. It was a story that had only just begun, a journey that would lead him down paths he had never imagined, towards a destiny shaped by the kindness he had shown. As the day unfolded, wrapped in the warmth of the sun and the company of friends, Harold's home felt fuller than it ever had. The morning's tales and shared laughter had woven a fabric of friendship that enveloped each of them, a tangible warmth that spoke of bonds formed in the heart of a storm. Yet, the day held more stories, more moments of unexpected connection. Hazel, the squirrel whose unexpected arrival on Harold's doorstep had brought her into this circle of warmth, now took her turn to share. With a voice tinged with the excitement of recollection and a hint of nostalgia, she began to weave her tale, a narrative rooted in the heart of the forest she called home. She spoke of the towering trees, their branches a canopy above, their roots a network below, connecting every creature that walked, crawled, or burrowed beneath them. Hazel's story was one of community, of the symbiotic relationships that sustained the forest's life, of the challenges and triumphs experienced by its inhabitants. Through her eyes, Harold and Seraphina glimpsed a world where every leaf, every drop of dew, played a part in the tapestry of life. But Hazel's tale was not just a chronicle of the forest's natural wonders. It was also a testament to the courage and resilience required to navigate its dangers. She recounted moments of peril, of narrow escapes from predators and natural disasters, each episode a lesson in survival and the strength found in unity. As Hazel shared her experiences, her audience was transported to the shadowed paths and sun-dappled clearings of her home. Harold and Seraphina, each so different in their own lives and habitats, found themselves drawn into Hazel's world, a testament to the power of storytelling to bridge divides, to foster empathy and understanding. Yet, amid the adventures and close calls, Hazel's story was threaded with moments of kindness, of times when the forest's inhabitants came to each other's aid, transcending the survival of the fittest to embrace a survival of the kindest. These instances, where generosity and compassion shone through, resonated deeply with Harold and Seraphina, echoing the very principles that had brought them together. As Hazel's narrative reached its conclusion, a reflective silence fell upon the burrow. It was a silence filled with the weight of the stories shared, a silence that spoke of the complexities of life and the simple truths that connected them all. In Hazel's journey, in her moments of fear and triumph, they saw reflections of their own lives, reminders of the challenges they had faced and the kindness that had guided them through. In the sharing of her tale, Hazel had not only offered a glimpse into her world, but had also deepened the bond that tied her to Harold and Seraphina. They were no longer merely a hedgehog, a sparrow, and a squirrel who had sought shelter from a storm. They were friends, bound by the stories they had shared, by the understanding that in a world of vast forests and open skies, kindness was the strongest tie of all. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows and painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, the trio understood that their time together was a gift, a brief interlude in the vast story of their lives. Yet, they also knew that the connections formed, the stories shared, would endure, a beacon of light in the memory of dark and stormy nights. As the sun's last rays surrendered to the embrace of twilight, the atmosphere within Harold's burrow shifted from one of shared tales and reflections to that of quiet anticipation. The day had been one of revelations, of stories that painted the world in hues of bravery, kindness, and the interconnectedness of all living things. Now, as evening approached, Harold felt a stirring in his heart, a desire to celebrate the bond that had formed between him and his unexpected guests. With a gentle determination, Harold set about preparing a feast. It was modest by any grand standard, yet it was rich in the one ingredient that no amount of gold could buy: heart. From his small stores he gathered nuts, berries, and roots, each item chosen with care, a tribute to the preferences of his guests. For Seraphina, he prepared a selection of seeds and grains, their subtle flavors a nod to the skies she so loved. For Hazel, he mixed a medley of nuts and fruits, a reminder of the forest's bounty. As the fire crackled and danced, casting a warm glow over the burrow's earthen walls, Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel gathered around a small table Harold had fashioned from an old stump. The table was set with the finest leaves Harold could find, each plate a masterpiece of nature's design. The meal began with a moment of gratitude, each of them reflecting on the journey that had brought them together. Then, as they shared the simple yet delicious fare, the conversation flowed as freely as the brook that babbled near Harold's home. They spoke of dreams and fears, of hopes for the future, and of the lessons learned from the past. In this moment, Harold's burrow was transformed from a simple dwelling into a sanctuary of friendship. The warmth that filled the space was not just from the fire that burned brightly in the hearth, but from the glow of companionship, the light of shared experiences and mutual respect. Harold, who had longed for company, for ears to listen and hearts to understand, found himself overwhelmed with a sense of fulfillment. His guests, each brought to his door by the winds of fate, had become his friends, their presence a gift that no words could fully express. As the evening wore on and the feast came to an end, Harold looked around at the faces illuminated by the firelight. Seraphina, her eyes sparkling with the joy of shared stories. Hazel, her gaze soft with the warmth of newfound friendship. In them, Harold saw reflections of himself, of his own journey from solitude to companionship. The night deepened, and the stars began their silent vigil overhead, a testament to the enduring beauty of the world outside. Yet, for Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel, the beauty they found within the burrow, in the company of each other, was a treasure beyond compare. As they settled in for the night, the burrow a cocoon of warmth against the chill of the evening air, a sense of peace settled over them. They had found in each other a kind of family, a bond forged not by blood but by the shared experience of a stormy night and the kindness that had brought them together. Harold, before drifting into a contented sleep, whispered a prayer of thanks to the stars above. He had opened his home and his heart, and in return, he had received the greatest gifts of all: friendship, stories, and a warmth that would linger long after his guests had gone. In the heart of the ancient forest, under the watchful eye of the towering oak, Harold's burrow stood as a beacon of hospitality, a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness could light the darkest of nights and warm the coldest of hearts. After the feast, as the embers of the fire glowed softly, casting a warm, flickering light across the burrow, Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel settled into a comfortable silence. It was a silence filled with contentment and the unspoken bond of newfound friendship. But the night was young, and the air was rich with the promise of tales yet untold. Harold, feeling a spark of inspiration, proposed an idea that lit up the eyes of his guests. "Let us have a night of stories," he suggested, his voice tinged with excitement. "Each of us shall share a tale, a piece of our heart and our journey. Let this night be a testament to the paths that have led us here, together." Seraphina, ever the storyteller, fluttered her wings in agreement, her heart soaring at the prospect of sharing more of the world seen from her wings. Hazel, though more reserved, nodded her assent, her eyes reflecting the fire's glow and the warmth of the invitation to share her own story. And so, the night of stories began, a tradition birthed in the heart of friendship and the warmth of Harold's burrow. Seraphina's tale. Seraphina took the lead, her voice a melody that carried the listeners across vast skies and over towering mountains. She spoke of a journey fraught with storms and starlight, of the camaraderie found in the migration paths, and of the solace of the open air. Her story was a testament to resilience, a reminder that freedom was not just the ability to fly, but the courage to soar in the face of the unknown. Hazel's tale. Next, Hazel shared a tale of the forest's deep shadows and dappled light, of the community within the trees and the silent wisdom of the ancient oaks. She recounted a day when danger had loomed large, a wildfire that threatened to consume all in its path. Yet, through unity and courage, the forest's inhabitants had come together, each playing a part in averting disaster. Her story was one of hope, a celebration of the strength found in togetherness and the power of collective action. Harold's tale. Finally, Harold, with a gentle humility, offered his own story. It was a simple tale, one of a hedgehog who had longed for connection in a world that seemed vast and sometimes indifferent. He spoke of his days spent tending to the needs of the forest, of the nights filled with longing, and of the moment the storm had brought Serafina and Hazel to his door. His story was a reflection on the beauty of the mundane, the magic found in everyday kindness, and the transformative power of hospitality. As each tale unfolded, the burrow became a vessel for the dreams and memories of its inhabitants. The stories, each unique in their essence, wove together to form a tapestry of experience, a shared narrative of adventure, adversity, and the unyielding power of friendship. The night of stories stretched into the early hours, the passage of time marked only by the slow dance of shadows across the burrow's walls. And when the tales had all been told, when the laughter and reflections had quieted, a profound sense of connection lingered in the air. Harold, Serafina, and Hazel, each from different walks of life, had found in each other a kindred spirit, a reminder that the journey of life, with all its twists and turns, was not meant to be traveled alone. In sharing their stories, they had uncovered the threads that bound them, the universal truths that transcended the boundaries of sky, earth, and tree. As dawn's first light began to seep into the burrow, signaling the end of their night together, a silent agreement was forged. No matter where their paths might lead, the memories of this night, of the stories shared and the friendship kindled, would remain a guiding light, a beacon in the darkness, reminding them of the warmth found in the company of friends. And so, the night of stories came to a close, not as an ending, but as a beginning, a chapter in the ongoing tale of the hedgehog's hospitality, a story that would continue to unfold in the hearts of those who had lived it. The hedgehog's wisdom as the first light of dawn filtered through the leaves, painting the world in hues of gold and amber. The inhabitants of Harold's burrow stirred from their slumber. The night of stories had woven a tapestry of friendship and understanding among them, and as they awoke to the promise of a new day, there was a palpable sense of peace and contentment in the air. Harold, ever the gracious host, busied himself with preparations for breakfast. With the same care and attention that he had devoted to the previous night's feast, he set about creating a simple yet nourishing meal to start their day. From his small larder, he gathered the freshest berries, the crunchiest nuts, and the most fragrant leaves, each ingredient a testament to the bounty of the forest and the care with which it was tended. As Serafina and Hazel emerged from their cozy nooks, they were greeted by the sight of Harold, apron-clad, humming a tune as old as the forest itself. The table, set beneath the soft glow of the morning light, was a simple affair, yet it held the promise of shared joys and the continuation of the bond that had been formed. They gathered around the table, each bringing their own sense of gratitude and reflection to the meal. As they partook of the fruits of the forest, there was an unspoken acknowledgement of the gifts that each had brought to the other's lives. Serafina, with her tales of the skies and her melodies of freedom. Hazel, with her stories of the forest's depth and her spirit of resilience. And Harold, with his unwavering kindness and his wisdom of the earth. The breakfast was a quiet affair, a moment to bask in the warmth of newfound friendship and to revel in the simplicity of being together. There were no grand declarations or dramatic gestures, only the sharing of a meal and the sharing of a moment, each as precious as the other. As they ate, the conversation turned to the lessons of the night before, to the wisdom that had been shared through their stories. Harold, with a gentle voice, spoke of the importance of kindness, of the strength found in offering shelter and friendship to those in need. He reflected on the paths that had led each of them to his door, on the storms that had sought to challenge them, and on the light that they had found in each other's company. Serafina and Hazel listened, their hearts open to the truths that Harold shared. They too spoke of the lessons they had learned, of the courage to soar and the strength to stand tall, of the beauty of the world when seen through the eyes of others. Together, they pondered the journeys that lay ahead, the skies to be explored, the forests to be traversed, and the friendships to be forged. As breakfast came to a close, and the sun climbed higher in the sky, there was a sense of readiness among them, a readiness to face the day and all that it might bring. They understood that the wisdom shared in the quiet of the morning was not just words to be spoken, but a call to action, a guide for living. In the heart of the ancient forest, in a burrow beneath the roots of an old oak, a hedgehog, a sparrow, and a squirrel had found something more than shelter from a storm. They had found a shared wisdom, a collective understanding of the world and their place within it. And as they stepped forth into the day, they carried with them the lessons of the morning, the memories of the night before, and the knowledge that in the tapestry of life, every thread was connected, every story a part of the whole. After the tranquil morning and the shared meal that had further cemented their bond, Seraphina, the sparrow, felt a flutter of excitement at the prospect of sharing her world with Harold and Hazel. The breakfast conversation had turned towards the day ahead, and it was here, under the canopy of the ancient forest, that Seraphina began her tale of the sky. With a sparkle in her eye that mirrored the first light of dawn, Seraphina spoke, her voice a melody that seemed to carry the very essence of the wind. The sky, she began, is not just a space above us. It is a realm of endless possibilities, a canvas of light and shadow, of color and form. To fly is to embrace freedom, to surrender to the embrace of the air, and to trust in the strength of your wings. Harold and Hazel listened, enraptured by the passion and reverence in Seraphina's voice. They watched as she spread her wings, the light catching on her feathers, casting iridescent glows upon the walls of the burrow. The beauty of the world from above is unmatched, Seraphina continued, her gaze distant, as if she were seeing the landscapes she described. Mountains that pierce the clouds, rivers that weave through the land like silver threads, forests that stretch to the horizon, a mosaic of life and color. From the sky, the world is a tapestry of interconnected lives, each part vital, each story interwoven with the next. But Seraphina's tale was not just one of beauty and freedom. It was also a story of courage, the courage to face the vastness of the sky, to navigate the storms and the winds that could buffet and sway. The sky teaches us courage, she said, her voice firm. It reminds us that to fly is to face fears, to push against the currents, to rise above the storms. But with each challenge overcome, the sky rewards us with a new perspective, a view of the world that grounds us in humility and fills us with wonder. As Seraphina spoke of the challenges, of the moments when the wind had seemed too strong, when the storm had seemed too fierce, Harold and Hazel saw not just the sparrow before them, but the embodiment of resilience and strength. They understood that Seraphina's flights were not just journeys through the air, but voyages of the heart, each beat of her wings a testament to her spirit. And so, Seraphina concluded, the sky is not just my home, it is my teacher. It has shown me the beauty of the earth from above, the joy of flight, and the strength found in facing fears. But most of all, it has taught me the value of perspective, of seeing the world not just from where I stand, but from the heights I can reach. In the quiet that followed Seraphina's tale, Harold and Hazel sat in reflection. They had been transported to the skies alongside Seraphina, had felt the rush of the wind, the vastness of the horizon. Through her story, they had learned not just of the sparrow's world, but of the lessons it held. Lessons of courage, of freedom, and of the beauty that lies in seeing the world from a new perspective. In the burrow beneath the ancient oak, a hedgehog, a squirrel, and a sparrow shared in the wisdom of the skies. And as they looked to the day ahead, they carried with them not just the stories of the night and the morning, but the lessons of the sky, a reminder of the boundless possibilities that lay in the courage to soar. With the echoes of Seraphina's skyward tales still lingering in the air, Hazel, the squirrel, took her turn to weave the fabric of her story into the tapestry of their shared morning. While Seraphina had painted the sky with her words, Hazel sought to ground their spirits in the earthy depths and verdant life of the forest. The forest, Hazel began, her voice soft yet imbued with a strength that seemed to echo the very essence of the trees, is a world of wonders, a place where life is intertwined in an endless dance of give and take. Each leaf, each branch, each root is a part of a larger whole, a community that supports and sustains each other. Harold and Seraphina listened intently, their imaginations captivated by the vivid world Hazel described. Through her eyes, they saw the forest not just as a collection of trees, but as a living entity, pulsating with life and energy. Hazel spoke of the towering oaks, ancient guardians of the forest, their branches a haven for those who sought shelter. She told tales of the streams that meandered like silver threads, their waters a source of life for all who dwelled within the forest's embrace. With each story, Hazel painted a picture of a world where every creature, from the smallest insect to the largest mammal, played a role in maintaining the balance of life. The forest teaches us the importance of community and support, Hazel continued, her gaze reflecting the depth of her connection to her home. It shows us that no one exists in isolation, that our lives are connected through countless threads. When one falls, we all feel the tremor. When one thrives, we all bask in the glow of their success. As Hazel shared her experiences, her voice carried a note of reverence for the lessons she had learned from the forest. She recounted moments of challenge when the resources were scarce and the shadows of the forest seemed to close in. Yet, even in those times, the forest had shown her the power of unity, of coming together to find solutions, to support one another in the face of adversity. But the forest is not just a teacher of survival, Hazel mused, a soft smile gracing her lips. It is also a source of joy, a place where the simple pleasures of life can be found in the rustle of leaves, the chorus of birdsong, and the dance of light and shadow. It reminds us to take joy in the moment, to celebrate the beauty that surrounds us, and to cherish the bonds that tie us to the earth and to each other. In the quiet of the burrow, as Hazel's tale came to a close, Harold and Seraphina felt a profound sense of connection, not just to Hazel, but to the world she had so vividly brought to life. Through her stories, they had journeyed into the heart of the forest, had felt its pulse and its breath, and had come to understand the intricate web of life that it sustained. Hazel's tale of the forest, with its lessons of interconnectedness, community, and support, was a reminder of the delicate balance that governed all life. It was a call to remember the importance of nurturing the bonds that connected them, to appreciate the beauty of the world in all its forms, and to support one another with the same strength and unity that the forest displayed. As Hazel concluded, the trio sat in reflective silence, each contemplating the wisdom of the forest and the lessons it offered. In the shared space of Harold's burrow, beneath the ancient oak, a hedgehog, a sparrow, and a squirrel found common ground in their love for the natural world and the invaluable lessons it imparted. After Hazel's illuminating tales of the forest, a hush fell over the cozy burrow, a reflective silence that held the weight of the stories shared. It was in this moment of quietude that Harold, the hedgehog, felt a warm glow of inspiration kindle within him. With the tales of the sky's freedom and the forest's interwoven lives fresh in his heart, he felt moved to share his own wisdom, the lessons of kindness and bravery that had been the bedrock of his life. "My dear friends," Harold began, his voice soft yet resonant in the quiet of the burrow, "your tales have filled this humble home with the spirit of adventure and the wisdom of the natural world. Now, let me share with you what I have learned, the virtues that have guided me through the seasons of my life." Harold paused, gathering his thoughts, his eyes reflecting the flicker of the firelight. "Kindness," he said, "is not merely an act, but a way of living. It is the light we can choose to shine in the darkest of times, a beacon of hope for those who have lost their way. My door has always been open, not because I expect anything in return, but because I believe that the warmth of hospitality can melt the coldest of hearts." Serafina and Hazel listened intently, drawn into the depth of Harold's simple yet profound wisdom. They had witnessed his kindness firsthand, had been recipients of his generosity, and now they understood it was not just a part of him but his very essence. "But kindness," Harold continued, "requires. It asks us to open our hearts, to share what we have, even when we fear it might not be enough. It challenges us to stand beside others, to share in their burdens, and to offer our strength when theirs falters. True kindness is an act of courage, for it dares to look beyond the self, to see the needs of others and to respond with an open heart." The hedgehog's words resonated deeply with his guests, echoing the lessons they had learned in their own lives. Serafina thought of the vast skies, of the courage it took to fly into the unknown, to navigate the storms. Hazel reflected on the forest, on the strength found in unity, in the support of the community. Harold, seeing the reflection of his words in their eyes, felt a surge of warmth. In this little burrow beneath the ancient oak, we have shared our tales, our dreams, and our fears. We have found a common ground, not just in the stories we tell, but in the values we hold dear. Kindness and bravery are not just virtues to aspire to. They are the threads that bind us, that make us stronger together than we could ever be alone. As Harold spoke, the burrow seemed to glow with an ethereal light, the light of understanding, of shared wisdom. It was a moment of connection, of realization that despite their different journeys, they shared a common purpose: to spread the light of kindness and the strength of bravery wherever they went. "My friends," Harold concluded, "let us carry these lessons with us as we move forward. Let us be beacons of kindness in a world that often forgets its value. Let us be brave in our generosity, in our hospitality, in our love for one another. For in kindness and bravery, we find not just the essence of what it means to live, but what it means to thrive together, in harmony with the world around us." In the heart of the ancient forest, in a burrow filled with the warmth of friendship and the glow of wisdom, a hedgehog, a sparrow, and a squirrel found a shared path forward. Inspired by the tales of the sky and the forest, and guided by the wisdom of kindness and bravery, they looked to the future with hopeful hearts, ready to spread the light they had kindled together. In the wake of Harold's profound reflections on kindness and bravery, an air of contemplation enveloped the burrow. The shared tales and wisdom had woven a fabric of connection among them, a tapestry rich with the hues of friendship, courage, and generosity. It was Serafina who first broke the reflective silence, her voice light yet filled with resolve. "We have been gifted with a rare treasure," she began, her eyes sparkling with the light of dawn that now filled the burrow. "The tales we've shared, the wisdom we've uncovered, are too precious to be kept within these earthen walls. We have a journey ahead of us, a quest to spread the seeds of kindness, to share the warmth of hospitality, and to show the world the strength found in friendship. Harold and Hazel nodded in agreement, the weight of Seraphina's words resonating deeply within their hearts. They recognized the value of their experiences together, the lessons learned not just through words, but through the very act of coming together in the face of a storm. With a sense of purpose igniting their spirits, they began to plan their venture out into the wider world. Harold, with his knowledge of the forest's paths and byways, proposed a route that would take them through the heart of the woodland, into the meadows beyond, and even to the edges of distant towns where the message of kindness could spread far and wide. Hazel, ever practical, suggested they gather supplies for their journey, nuts and berries from the forest, water from the clearest stream, and leaves for shelter. She spoke of the importance of being prepared, of facing the journey with not just courage, but with wisdom and foresight. Seraphina, with her view from the skies, offered to scout ahead, to be their eyes from above, guiding them through the safest paths and alerting them to any who might need their message of kindness most. Her perspective would be invaluable, a reminder that sometimes seeing the bigger picture required taking a step back, or in her case, a flight up. As they planned, the trio found their excitement growing, not just for the adventure itself, but for the opportunity to make a difference, to touch lives in the way theirs had been touched. They spoke of the shelters they would offer, the friendships they would forge, and the tales they would share, each one a ripple in the pond of the world, spreading outwards to touch the shores of distant hearts. Preparing for the journey became a labor of love, a tangible expression of their commitment to the path they had chosen. They worked together seamlessly, each contributing their unique strengths to the task at hand. Harold, with his meticulous nature, ensured that no detail was overlooked. Hazel, with her boundless energy, gathered supplies with a speed and efficiency that left Harold and Seraphina in awe. And Seraphina, with her songs of encouragement and her tales of the skies, lifted their spirits and reminded them of the beauty of their mission. As the day wore on and their preparations neared completion, the trio stood at the threshold of Harold's burrow, looking out at the forest bathed in the golden light of sunset. They were ready, not just in the practical sense, but in their hearts. They had found a purpose greater than themselves, a calling that spoke to the very core of their beings. With a final look back at the burrow that had been the cradle of their friendship, they stepped forward into the twilight, their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that they carried with them the light of kindness, the warmth of hospitality, and the unbreakable bond of friendship. Together, they would venture forth, spreading their message far and wide, a testament to the power of coming together in the face of adversity, and the transformative magic of sharing one's heart with the world. As the first light of dawn crept across the forest, painting the world in hues of gold and pink, Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel stood at the edge of the clearing that marked the beginning of their journey. The moment was bittersweet, for while the adventure that lay ahead filled their hearts with hope, the thought of parting ways, even temporarily, weighed heavily upon them. They had spent the night sharing final tales, refining their plans and fortifying their spirits for the journey ahead. Now, as the sun rose, marking the start of a new day and the commencement of their quest, they each took a moment to reflect on the bond that had formed between them, a bond forged in the warmth of Harold's burrow and strengthened by the tales and wisdom they had shared. Harold, with the gentle wisdom that had earned him the affection and respect of his friends, spoke first. "My dear friends," he said, his voice steady yet tinged with emotion, "the time has come for us to embark on our journey. Though our paths might diverge, the lessons we've learned, the warmth of our friendship will remain with us, guiding us forward." Seraphina, the spirited sparrow, whose tales of the sky had inspired them all, fluttered her wings, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "Harold, Hazel, you have shown me the strength of the earth, the value of a home," she said. "I will carry your stories with me as I fly, spreading the message of kindness and the beauty of connection to every corner of the sky." Hazel, whose tales of the forest had grounded them, nodded her agreement, her resolve clear in her gaze. "And I will journey through the forest, sharing our message with every creature, every tree," she added. "Our tales, our wisdom, will echo through the woods, a reminder that no one is alone, that together we are stronger." With their promises made, they prepared to set off, each to their own direction, yet united in purpose. Harold would venture into the heart of the forest, his knowledge of its paths and denizens guiding him as he sought to share their message. Seraphina would take to the skies, her flight carrying her far and wide, a messenger of hope and connection, and Hazel would traverse the woodland, her agility and spirit a beacon to all she met. As they readied themselves, they shared one final embrace, a silent acknowledgement of the journey they had shared and the roads that lay ahead. Then, with heavy hearts but hopeful spirits, they stepped forward, embarking on their separate paths. Harold watched as Seraphina took flight, her wings catching the light of the rising sun, and as Hazel bounded into the forest, her form quickly swallowed by the green. A sense of solitude enveloped him, yet it was tempered by the warmth of their friendship, the knowledge that though they were apart, they were together in spirit. With a deep breath, Harold turned towards the forest, his heart filled with determination. The lessons of kindness, of hospitality, and bravery would be his guide. He would share their tales, their wisdom, with all he met, a testament to the power of coming together, of opening one's heart to the world. As Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel ventured forth, each carried with them the light of their friendship, a beacon in the darkness. They would face challenges, no doubt, but the strength of their bond, the power of the lessons they had learned, would see them through. In the heart of the ancient forest, under the vast expanse of the sky, a hedgehog, a sparrow, and a squirrel set out to change the world, one tale, one act of kindness at a time. And though their paths had diverged, their journey was only just beginning, a journey of hope, of friendship, and of the unyielding power of the hedgehog's hospitality. The return of kindness as the seasons turned, painting the forest in the ever-changing hues of nature's palette, Harold found himself once again in the solitude of his burrow beneath the ancient oak. The days of shared tales and warmth, of laughter echoing against earthen walls, had given way to the quietude of a life once familiar. Yet, the burrow no longer felt as it once had. It was as if the air itself was imbued with the memories of Seraphina and Hazel, their presence lingering like the soft glow of twilight. Harold went about his days with a gentle diligence, tending to the needs of the forest and its inhabitants with the same unwavering kindness that had always guided him. But in the quiet moments, as the sun dipped below the horizon or the rain tapped softly against the canopy, Harold's thoughts would turn to his friends, to the journeys they had embarked upon. He found solace in the garden they had cultivated together, where the seeds of kindness had been sown. Here, amidst the blossoms and the buzzing of bees, he felt closest to Seraphina and Hazel. The garden was a testament to their time together, each plant a memory, each bloom a tale shared in the warmth of friendship. The nights were the hardest, when the absence of their stories and laughter was most acute. Yet, Harold took comfort in the stars, in the knowledge that the same sky that stretched above him was witness to Seraphis, that the same earth beneath his feet was trodden by Hazel on her journeys. In the tapestry of the night sky, he saw the interconnectedness of their lives, a reminder that though they were apart, they remained bound by the threads of friendship and the lessons of the heart. Harold filled his days with acts of kindness, his way of honoring the promise they had made to carry their message into the world. He became a beacon of hospitality in the forest, offering shelter and aid to any who sought it. And in each act of kindness, he felt the presence of his friends, their spirits guiding him, their lessons alive in his heart. As the seasons turned once more, Harold's burrow became a place of pilgrimage for those who had heard of the hedgehog's wisdom and kindness. They came seeking advice, comfort, or simply the warmth of his hearth, and to each, Harold offered what he could, his heart open, his hospitality unfailing. Yet, despite the fulfillment he found in these acts, a part of Harold longed for the return of Seraphina and Hazel. He missed the vibrancy of their tales, the laughter that had filled his home, the shared moments of reflection and joy. The burrow, enriched by the memories of their brief companionship, echoed with the quiet hope of their return. In the quiet days that followed the departure of his friends, Harold learned the true depth of kindness. It was not just in the giving, but in the quiet spaces between, in the longing for connection, in the hope of reunion. His heart, though heavy with their absence, was buoyed by the love they had shared, by the knowledge that the seeds of kindness they had planted together would continue to grow, spreading their message far beyond the confines of the forest. And so, Harold waited, his days filled with quiet acts of kindness, his nights with hopeful glances towards the stars. In the depths of his heart, he knew that the bonds of friendship once forged were not easily broken. The return of kindness, he believed, was not a question of if, but when. On a day when the sun hung high in the sky, casting a warm golden light upon the forest, Harold was tending to his garden, lost in thought among the blooms and the buzzing of bees. The solitude of his days had become a comfortable cloak, woven with the threads of memories and the acts of kindness that filled his time. Yet, in the depths of his heart, a silent longing for his friends remained, an ember of hope that glowed softly, awaiting the breath of reunion to flare back to life. As he watered the plants, each a living testament to the time spent with Seraphina and Hazel, a shadow passed overhead, a brief eclipse of the sun's warmth. Harold looked up, shielding his eyes against the bright light, and there, descending from the azure expanse, was Seraphina. Her wings caught the sun as she glided down, a silhouette of grace and freedom, and landed softly beside him. The sight of her, vibrant and alive, brought a rush of joy to Harold's heart, a bloom of warmth that spread through his veins like the first breath of spring. "Seraph," he exclaimed, his voice a mixture of surprise and delight. "You've returned." Seraphina's eyes sparkled with the joy of reunion, and she fluttered her wings in a dance of greeting. "Harold," she replied, her voice as melodious as the song she once sang beneath his roof. "I've come back, as I promised I would, and I bring with me tales from the skies, from the lands beyond the forest's embrace." As they settled into the comfort of Harold's burrow, the air became alive with Seraphina's tales. She spoke of her journey, of the vast landscapes she had soared above, and the countless lives she had touched. Her voice painted pictures of distant lands, of mountains that touched the clouds and rivers that sparkled like jewels in the sun's embrace. But more than the beauty of the world from above, Seraphina brought stories of the ripple effects of Harold's kindness. "Your generosity, your open heart, has inspired more than you could know," she said, her eyes alight with the fire of conviction. "In every place I visited, I shared our tales, the lessons of the hedgehog's hospitality, and I've seen the seeds you planted grow, Harold. Acts of kindness, of friendship, blossoming in places you've never seen." She told him of a village where the residents had opened their doors to travelers, inspired by the story of a hedgehog who offered shelter to a sparrow and a squirrel. She spoke of a city where strangers came together to create a garden for all to enjoy, a living symbol of community and support, sparked by the tales of their shared wisdom. With each story, Harold felt a profound sense of awe and gratitude. The journey he had embarked upon with Serafina and Hazel, the message they had sought to spread, had taken root in ways he could never have imagined. The knowledge that his simple acts of kindness could inspire such generosity and warmth in others filled him with a quiet pride and a renewed sense of purpose. As the day waned and the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows and painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Harold and Serafina shared a moment of peaceful reflection. The return of the sparrow, the tales of kindness spreading far and wide, were a testament to the power of their friendship, to the enduring impact of the hedgehog's hospitality. In the heart of the ancient forest, beneath the vast expanse of the sky, a hedgehog and a sparrow sat side by side, united by the bonds of friendship and the shared joy of witnessing the return of kindness. And as the stars began to twinkle in the twilight, Harold knew that the journey they had started together was far from over. It was a story that would continue to unfold, a legacy of love and generosity that would echo through the ages. In the days that followed Serafina's return, a gentle buzz of excitement and warmth filled Harold's burrow, a glow that seemed to extend into the very heart of the forest. The tales of kindness and the ripple effects of their shared wisdom had rekindled a flame of hope and purpose in Harold, a reminder of the profound impact of simple acts of generosity. As Serafina and Harold shared in the tasks of the garden, their laughter and conversation weaving through the trees, a familiar rustle in the underbrush heralded another long-awaited reunion. Hazel, the squirrel, emerged from the verdant depths of the forest, her eyes alight with the joy of return and her heart full of tales from the woodland realms. Harold's face broke into a wise smile, the sight of Hazel a balm to his soul, completing the circle of friendship that had begun on a stormy night not so long ago. "Hazel," he exclaimed, rushing forward to greet her, "you've come back to us." Hazel's laughter, bright and merry, filled the air as she scampered up to join them. "I wouldn't miss it for the world," she replied, her gaze sweeping over the burrow and the garden that had flourished in her absence. "And I bring with me news from the forest, stories of the kindness that has blossomed in the shade of the trees, inspired by the hedgehog's hospitality." As they settled down the burrow once again, a haven of warmth and companionship, Hazel began to share her tales. She spoke of her journey through the forest, of the connections she had forged with creatures big and small. Her stories painted a picture of a community transformed, where the once isolated inhabitants of the forest had come together in a spirit of mutual support and kindness. "There's a clearing," Hazel recounted, her voice tinged with wonder, "where the animals have started gathering, sharing food and stories, looking out for one another. It began with a few, but word spread, inspired by the tales of a hedgehog who opened his home and heart to a sparrow and a squirrel in need." She told them of a grove where the trees, once ravaged by disease, had been nursed back to health by the collective effort of the forest dwellers, a testament to the strength found in unity and the healing power of care. "It's as if the forest itself has breathed a sigh of relief," Hazel said. "There's a sense of peace, of belonging, that wasn't there before. Your message, Harold, the wisdom we shared, it's taken root here, changing lives, weaving us all into a tapestry of community." The impact of their journey, of the seeds of kindness they had sown together, filled the burrow with a profound sense of accomplishment and joy. Harold, Serafina, and Hazel, each in their own way, had touched the hearts of those they encountered, spreading a message of hope and friendship that had transformed not just their lives, but the world around them. As the evening drew on, the friends shared stories and plans, their hearts buoyed by the knowledge that their efforts had borne fruit, that the legacy of their friendship would continue to inspire acts of kindness and unity. The burrow, once a symbol of Harold's solitude, had become a beacon of hospitality and love, a place where the tales of their adventures would be told and retold, inspiring generations to come. In the heart of the ancient forest, beneath the canopy of stars, a hedgehog, a sparrow, and a squirrel celebrated the return of kindness, a testament to the enduring power of friendship and the transformative impact of opening one's heart to others. And as they looked forward to the adventures that lay ahead, they knew that the journey they had embarked upon together was far from over. It was a story of hope, of love, and of the unbreakable bonds that tie us all together. In the heart of the ancient forest, under the boughs of the towering oak, and amidst the verdant splendor of Harold's garden, a grand feast was being prepared. It was a celebration unlike any the forest had seen before, a gathering that would symbolize the unity and friendship born from the simple acts of kindness that had begun in the humble burrow of a hedgehog. Word of the feast had spread through the forest and beyond, carried on the wings of birds, whispered by the wind, and rustled through the leaves. Creatures of all kinds, from the smallest mouse to the most majestic deer, made their way to the clearing, drawn by the promise of fellowship and the tales of a hedgehog, a sparrow, and a squirrel whose journey had touched the hearts of many. Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel, with the help of their new friends, had spared no effort in preparing for the feast. Tables were laid with leaves of every shape and color, forming a patchwork of nature's bounty. Lanterns hung from the branches above, casting a soft glow that mirrored the stars twinkling in the twilight sky. The menu was a testament to the diversity of the forest, with dishes inspired by the tales and travels of the trio. There were seeds and berries gathered by Seraphina from the farthest reaches of the sky, nuts and fruits collected by Hazel from the deepest corners of the forest, and a selection of roots and herbs tenderly cultivated by Harold in his garden. Each dish was prepared with care, a culinary embodiment of the lessons of kindness, hospitality, and the strength found in generosity. As the guests arrived, the air was filled with the sounds of laughter and conversation, a melody of camaraderie that resonated through the trees. Old friends reunited, new friendships were forged, and tales of adventures were shared, weaving a tapestry of stories that enriched the tapestry of the forest's life. Harold, with his heart as full as the table set before them, stood to address the gathering. "Friends," he began, his voice carrying the warmth of the fire that crackled nearby, "tonight, we celebrate not just the journey of a hedgehog, a sparrow, and a squirrel, but the journey of us all. Each of us, in our own way, has contributed to the tapestry of kindness that envelops this forest. Tonight, let us feast not just on the bounty before us, but on the joy of friendship, the richness of community, and the endless possibilities that kindness unfolds." The feast that followed was a celebration of life in all its forms. Stories were shared, songs were sung, and dances were danced under the canopy of stars. The forest, with all its inhabitants, felt closer, more connected than ever before, a community bound by the invisible threads of kindness and the tangible bonds of shared joy. As the night wore on, and the moon rose high in the sky, Harold, Seraphina, and Hazel looked upon the scene before them with a sense of wonder and gratitude. The feast of friends, born from the simplest acts of kindness, had blossomed into a celebration of unity and friendship that would be remembered for generations to come. In the quiet that followed the departure of the last guest, as the trio sat together, basking in the afterglow of the night's festivities, they knew that their journey had indeed made a difference. The feast was not just a culmination of their adventures, but a beginning of a new chapter in the forest story, one where kindness was the cornerstone of every interaction, every relationship. And so, under the watchful eye of the ancient oak, in a clearing filled with the echoes of laughter and the remnants of a feast, a hedgehog, a sparrow, and a squirrel celebrated the power of kindness, the beauty of friendship, and the enduring legacy of hospitality that had transformed their world.